And with that, we welcome you to Sports Talk here on December 7th. Happy Pearl Harbor Day to all of you as we commemorate those lost back in 1941. But let's talk sports, shall we? Today we are covering some recent signings in Major League Baseball, as well as the stats and upgrades in the stats and progression in the standings in NBA and NHL. And then we will have, after a short break where we debut some new music, we will have our first ever Athlete of the Week interview, followed by some football scores and predictions. So it should be a fun show. We might fly through some of the beginning stuff just so we can get through everything, but should be fun. So let's start. Moving into Major League Baseball, some recent signings that are interesting. Mark Melancon going to the San Francisco Giants for 4 years. Mark Melancon considered one of the best closers in baseball, and the Giants lock him up for a 4-year deal worth over $30 million. Journeyman Rich Hill, who I talked about a couple weeks ago, he's played for 13 different teams in 11 years. He finally seems to have found a home in LA as he re-signs with the Dodgers for 3 years. The Rangers have apparently given up on the hopes of signing or trading for Billy Hamilton as they signed last night Carlos Gomez to a 1-year, $11 million deal. And then Ian Desmond, the former center fielder for the Texas Rangers, in a shocking deal about 2 hours ago, signs with the Colorado Rockies. The Rockies, great hitting, top 10 hitting team for the past 10 years, bottom 10 in pitching. So what do? They sign another hitter. Thanks, Colorado. But what we're going to do, some other big free agency signings that have happened over the past week. Carlos Beltran going to the Astros for 1 year and $16 million. As well, Andrew Cashner going to the Rangers from the Miami Marlins for 1 year and $10 million. Bartolo Colon goes to the Braves along with R.A. Dickey, so they like getting older at starting pitcher. Brian Dunsing going to the Chicago Cubs to be a reliever in that Chicago bullpen. So the Cubs just get better and better. Like I said, Rich Hill re-signing with the Dodgers, 3 years, $48 million. Jeremy Hellickson re-signs with the Phillies after being a non-tendered free agent for about 2 days. John Jay going to Chicago as well. And finally, we will talk about Mitch Moreland going to the Boston Red Sox for 1 year and $5.5 million. But I'm going to go on a little bit of a rant here, guys. I am not a Red Sox fan. I am a Reds fan. But Dave Dombrowski is driving me nuts. You have the two best prospects in baseball, and you trade them both for arguably the biggest mental clubhouse problem guy in baseball. You have that starting pitcher in Double-A. I apologize, I can't think of the name right now, but this guy throws 102 and he's a starting pitcher. If you can get 60 pitches a game at 100 miles an hour, that's deadly. And then Yoan Moncada, they pay Yoan Moncada $31 million to defect from Cuba and come to Major League and come to American baseball. And then when he's finally ready to make his Major League debut, they trade him. Like, oh my gosh, Boston. I mean, I hope it works out for him. Like, now they have David Price, Chris Sale, and Rick Porcello, 2 Cy Young winners and a guy who's been a Cy Young finalist for 6 straight years. But if it doesn't work out, that's got to be the worst trade in the past 20 years. Giving up your entire future for a guy who has one of the biggest question marks in baseball. I mean, Chris Sale, no doubt, one of the most consistent and talented pitchers in the game. But this guy's he's just a detriment to a team. I mean, last year he's making $30 million a year. Why is he complaining? And then he's uncomfortable in the White Sox throwback uniform. So what does he do? He takes a pair of scissors, cuts up the jersey, and then they have to find a new pitcher in about 20 minutes because they can't use him anymore. Like, care about your team, man. You're making money. Like, I hope it works out for both Sale and Boston. They both seem happy, but I just can't get over it. I just think that's one of the dumbest trades I've ever seen. And I'm a Reds fan, so I know a lot about dumb trades. But we will move on to the NBA now after covering a little bit of baseball and going on a little bit of a rant. I apologize for that. Tonight you have a doubleheader on ESPN with the New York Knicks taking on the Cleveland Cavaliers and the Golden State Warriors taking on the Houston Rockets. And some scores from last night. As I apologize, it's the Clippers. They played the Rockets 2 nights ago, and I'm still thinking Houston because of James Harden having an amazing year. But last night, the Orlando Magic over the Washington Wizards, 124-116. New York Knicks continue their hot start, winning 114-103 over the Miami Heat. Detroit Pistons beat the Bulls 102-91. Memphis over Philadelphia 96-91. Let this be a lesson to you, Philadelphia. Start Joel Embiid. Quit sitting him on the bench. San Antonio Spurs beat the Minnesota Timberwolves 105-91. Spurs off to a 13-0 start on the road. And the Utah Jazz beat the Phoenix Suns in the night game 112-105. So we will quickly go over the conference standings in the NBA now. Number one, holding a one-game lead is the Cleveland Cavaliers over the Toronto Raptors. 3, 4, 5, you got Charlotte, Boston, New York, and then Milwaukee 6, Chicago 7, Detroit 8, with the Pacers, Hawks, and Magic within a game and a half of that final playoff spot. In the West, you got the Warriors holding a slim half-game lead over the San Antonio Spurs. Clippers 3, Houston 4, Memphis 5, Oklahoma City 6, Utah 7, and Portland 8, with the Lakers, Nuggets, and Kings looking on in the next 3. It's cool to see the Lakers back to being kind of a relevant team after the last couple of years. They've gone 20-60 or so. So it's kind of cool to see them putting up fights with some of the best teams in basketball. So I know we're flying through this show, but we got a lot to cover. We will move on quickly to NHL, where some scores from last night in the NHL were the fact that some big news. Vancouver Canucks Philip Larson hit in the face of the slap shot last night, and he was taken to the hospital with a head injury. So I wish him the best in that recovery. But we are going to talk, while we're talking about hockey, we are going to talk about the surprising start of the Columbus Blue Jackets. This team last year was the third worst team in the NHL, and all of a sudden they're 15-5-4 and have 34 points. And they play Detroit Friday night, and from Joe Louis Arena, so it should be a very interesting contest. After they rank third in goals per game, third in goals against, first in power play percentage, and 18th in penalty kill. But that's top 3 in the league in 3 of the 4 major categories, and they only trail Pittsburgh and New York by 1 point, and they've played 2 fewer games. So what a start for the Columbus Blue Jackets. Leading the team in points, Cam Atkinson. Leading the team in goals, the captain, Nick Foligno. And assist, it's Wenberg, the superstar rookie. And then you've got the dominant 2-goalie duo of Curtis McElhinney and Sergei Bobrovsky. I think this team has a lot of talent, and if they can get by the Pittsburgh Penguins, they might have a shot at making a run in the playoffs. So we will move on to the standings now in the NHL. Montreal leading the Atlantic with 37 points, Ottawa with 32, Boston 31, Tampa Bay 30, Detroit 29, Florida 28, Buffalo 26, and Toronto 25. And in the Metropolitan, you got Pittsburgh and New York with 35, New York Rangers, I apologize, with 35, Columbus with 34, like I said, and 2 fewer games played, Philadelphia with 33, Washington 31, New Jersey 30, Carolina and New York Islanders with 25. Chicago with 37 points to lead the Central. St. Louis 34, Winnipeg 29, Minnesota, Nashville 28, Dallas 26, and Colorado 19, the worst team in the NHL. Edmonton with 32 to lead the Pacific, 31 for San Jose, Calgary with 30, Anaheim 29, LA 28, Vancouver 24, and Arizona 20. So we will take a short break. I hope you stick with us when we come back. It will be the first ever Athlete of the Week interview, followed by some college football predictions for the major bowl games, and some NFL predictions as well. I like to introduce to you some new music on the show. This is called In Your Dreams by Syntact. All right, we are back to sports talk. Sorry for that interruption. I just lost connection to the SoundCloud there. But we are good now. We would like to welcome our first athlete of the week onto Sports Talk, Chandler Wren. Welcome to Sports Talk, Chandler.
Thanks for having me, Shay.
He played varsity football. He was one of the captains for the Bellbrook Eagles football team this year, and he also plays basketball for the Golden Eagles. And we love having him on the show as our first athlete of the week. So I got to ask you first, what got you into football? Because I know a lot of people nowadays are worried about all the head injuries and all the neck stuff like that. So what was in it? What I guess inspired you to try football?
My dad, definitely. He was a coach when I was growing up, and I just kind of grew up into it, and that just got me into the game. So,
yeah. Very cool. I would also like to. I watched a very successful season this year by Bellbrook, 7-3, including a shutout against the arch rival Oakwood on senior night. That had to feel good.
Oh yeah.
What was the feeling like for all the seniors as they left the field after shutting out their arch rivals, knowing it was their last game?
A lot of emotion. That was awesome. It's good to go out that way, and it's also kind of a sad emotion of never playing football again, at least at the high school level. So
yeah,
it was awesome. It was a good time.
Yeah, very fun game to be at too. Very fun to see thousands of people from the Bellbrook community banding together just to beat on Oakwood. Very fun. I went to the first basketball game this past week against Brookville. Pretty interesting game. Very promising team, it seems like. So what can we expect from the Bellbrook Eagles basketball team this year?
Not the biggest team, but coach has really been focusing on defensive intensities. New coach, Coach Tate, coming in. That's always what he's been preaching since he got here. So lots of intensity on defense.
Yeah, big changes in coaching all around. Football also had a new coach this year with Coach Jenkins. When you first got to summer workouts, I guess, what was the feeling like transitioning from Coach Bass to Coach Jenkins?
Well, the first thing that Coach Jenkins said when he got the job immediately, we were in the auditorium, and they announced he was a coach, and he said, first thing he said is how awesome of a coach Bass was, because he actually had him as a coach at Bellbrook, and he just wanted to start a new era of football, new work ethic, and he really put it to us that summer, and it was good.
Seems like he's got a good up-and-coming classes too. Bellbrook's got definitely a future in football, it seems like. So I was curious. I know we as a group a lot go up to Urbana for summer workouts. So I was curious, what do the coaches use up there and also throughout the summer to build chemistry between all the players?
Well, we have Leadership Council, which is a group of sophomores through seniors. They get together, hang out, all that, talk about what we can do to keep the hype up on the team and all stuff like that. And just being together at Urbana, that really brings us close together because, I mean, obviously they make us – it's called Hell Week for a reason. They condition the crap out of us. So really kind of brings the team together.
Yeah. Sure, a couple sunburns too when you get back.
Oh, yeah, lots.
What was the transition like? I know Bellbrook has been usually the quarterback for Bellbrook, usually an upperclassman, junior or senior. What was it like having a sophomore quarterback this year that was very good in Brendan Lubinski?
It was cool. I was glad to see a young guy get out there and show stuff, and he did awesome. He's a great leader. I mean, he's yelled at me a couple times that I'm supposed to be the senior captain. But, yeah, he's a good guy, and he's going to be good for him. That's always good to have a young quarterback kind of start, especially in a new offense.
Yeah, definitely. I very impressed with the Bellbrook Eagles again this season. Very impressive wins, I should say. That game on Thursday Night Lights against Tecumseh. Wow. A lot of it was raining. A lot of it, there was some rain, some storms mixed in there, but I guess the biggest storm of the night was Bellbrook. Tecumseh, wow. I thought that was going to be one of the better games of the season, and Bellbrook just clearly showing they meant business this year.
Yeah, that was awesome. We'd gone out to the locker room, or gone out to the field from the locker room and then back a couple times. So we thought the hype would kind of go away, but it stayed with us. Once we got out there, we were ready to play.
Yeah,
so it was fun. Definitely.
And a couple tough losses this year. I think it's safe to say Franklin, very good team this year. Franklin was very good. And then you actually had a kick return touchdown to start off the game against Franklin, which is pretty cool to see. But a couple of tough losses this year that unfortunately kept us from any postseason action. But I think overall a very successful season, and one you have to hang your head high on.
Oh, yeah, definitely. Definitely a good way to go out, 7-3.
Yeah.
So
Very impressive. We will move on to I have a couple of viewers that I'm sure are interested in football, and I'm curious to say, what is any advice or just inspirational words of wisdom for anyone who's thinking about playing football?
It's a game played with emotion, and it's really something someone should try at some point in their life. It's a good time, gonna get close to a lot of people, meet some people that sure will have connections later in life. So it's definitely a good thing to do.
Well, that's very cool. We will move on to some college football next. Chandler, I know you heard. I know you're an Ohio State fan, so we're both pretty excited that Ohio State's in the playoff for the second time in 3 years.
Oh yeah.
But a very tough game for them coming against Clemson. Deshaun Watson, one of the better quarterbacks in the league, or in the nation, I should say. But what do you think about Clemson versus Ohio State? Who do you have coming out in that one?
Obviously I'm biased. I'm going to take Ohio State. I think our defense needs to step up, which obviously, I mean, they had 2 pick-six against Nebraska, completely slaughtered them. They really need to step it up, and the offense needs to do their part too.
Oh yeah, I completely agree. I picked Ohio State too. I ended up going with Ohio State 31-29. I have a little bit of bias to me too, but I think it will be a very tough fought game, and definitely one that people should keep their eyes on at 7 o'clock on New Year's Eve. And then the other playoff semifinal, the team that no one really knew about coming into this year, Washington, kind of shocking the world with their offense, led by another sophomore quarterback, Jake Browning, and they take on the team that seems that they cannot be beat in Alabama, with consistently one of the best defenses in the country and now also one of the best offenses in the country too. Any thoughts on that one?
Washington, if they're going to have a shot, they got to come out slinging it. They got to come out trick plays, reverses, all sorts of stuff. They just got to get points on the board early and hope to roll with that.
Yeah. I think Washington shocked a lot of people this year, beating USC, beating Colorado, very capable teams this year. But in case anyone from Washington's listening to this show, I just got to go Bama because Bama played USC too, and they won 52-6. And USC's playing in the Rose Bowl, so they're not really a pushover team. I think Alabama's just got one of those teams that you just got to be scared of. Like, it's one of those teams where at least 9 out of the 11 starters on each side of the ball are probably going pro.
Yeah, it's not a team that you can try to beat. It's a team you got to try to stop.
Yeah.
It's that powerful.
Definitely. So moving on to some key, some interesting bowl games that are going on also throughout the college football bowl season that caught my attention. A very interesting game between Boise State and Baylor. Both were ranked early in the season, and this is in the Motel 6 Cactus Bowl on December 27th from Phoenix. But Boise State started the year 9-0, I think, and then lost 2 of their final 3, so not quite the momentum. But Baylor started 6-0. They were number 5 in the country, and then all of a sudden lost 6 in a row to end the year. Baylor's Big 12, but you think I'm thinking Boise. I don't know about you, but
yeah, I'm thinking Boise. Like you said, Baylor went out losing 6 games. It's tough to get out of that sort of momentum. So I'm gonna take Boise too.
Baylor. In case anyone hadn't heard, Baylor just hired Mike Rule as their new coach, Temple's coach, who was very impressive. To coach a team like Temple to back-to-back American Conference title games and then winning one this year. Especially after last year, everyone thought Temple would go through a rebuilding phase because a lot of players on that team went to the NFL, but they just got better. That's impressive. Another big key game, the Miami Hurricanes against the West Virginia Mountaineers in the Russell Athletic Bowl. This is on December 28th at 5:30 from Orlando. Miami, one of those ACC teams that played pretty well this year, not like a Clemson or a Florida State, but probably up there with Pittsburgh as one of those like good but not great teams, and they're playing a team like West Virginia that's kind of the same story in the Big 12, not quite an Oklahoma or Oklahoma State, but kind of up there with like Kansas State and maybe even Baylor at times. But I think it's basically a preference of which conference you think is tougher. I think West Virginia has been battle tested. They've played teams like Oklahoma State. And Florida State wasn't that impressive to me this year. And Clemson, I think, turns the ball over too much. So I think I got to go West Virginia in this one.
Yeah, I'm going to go West Virginia too. I like the way their defense plays.
Yeah. We will move on to the day before New Year's Eve, December 30th. We've got a really interesting game against between the Nebraska Cornhuskers and Tennessee Volunteers. Both of these teams were expected to have big years. Nebraska was ranked in the top 10 for a while before getting beat by Michigan and Ohio State. And then Tennessee played very well in the fourth quarter this year. Most memorably when they were down 21-10 to Appalachian State in week 1, and every Tennessee fan was freaking out. And then they somehow managed to come back and win it in overtime. But Tennessee, definitely the heart stoppers of college football. So I just think the SEC and the Big Ten were so evenly tough conferences this year. I think this is going to be one of the better games of the bowl season because you got very good, interesting quarterback battle too between Tommy Armstrong Jr., who's a very good dual threat quarterback, and then Tennessee's got some receivers that are tall and can make those leaping catches, and it's going to be, I think, a really interesting game. But if I had to pick, I think I'd go Nebraska. Yeah. Just Big Ten's a tough conference.
Yeah, I was at the Ohio State-Nebraska game, and I saw once they got up, Nebraska was just done. So I think Tennessee can get an early lead. They'll probably roll with that one.
And then you get hit the first of the New Year's Six, actually on the 30th this year, between the number 6 Michigan Wolverines and the number 11 Florida State Seminoles. We already covered the Florida State a little bit. Good, still good, obviously. Top 15 in the country, but not sure if they're quite the same team like they were with Jameis Winston. Michigan, on the other hand, toughest defense in the country. Both of their losses came down to the final seconds of the game. Took Ohio State to double overtime. Iowa was just a shocker on the road. I mean, I think I got to go Michigan.
Yeah, I don't think Florida State's going to be able to score against Michigan. Michigan's also very hungry. They lost 2. I'm sure they feel they should be in the college football playoffs, so they're going to come out shooting.
I can't believe I'm saying this as a Ohio State fan, but I was kind of pulling for Michigan to make the playoff. Yeah. I was thinking my preference is top 4 teams in the country, and I was thinking Alabama, Clemson, Ohio State, and Michigan. I was thinking that'd be a fun playoff.
Oh yeah, that'd be awesome.
Jim Harbaugh, I'm sure, will have that team ready.
Oh yeah.
You move to the next game of the New Year's Six. You got Western Michigan, the darlings of college football this year, the only team other than Alabama that finished the year with a 0 in the loss column. And they're taking on a very good Wisconsin team from that Big Ten again in the Cotton Bowl. I love Western Michigan. I love their story. I love their coach, PJ Fleck. He's going to probably get a job in the Power 5 sometime in the next year or so. But, again, that Big Ten's just so tough. I think unless Western Michigan comes out firing, like you said earlier, I just think Wisconsin might run away with this thing. The MAC is not the Big Ten.
Yeah, I'm with you on that one. They just don't have the same type of players. They're going to have to come out shooting, lots of trick plays and whatnot.
And then you got the Rose Bowl between 2 teams that started off kind of poor and then ended as the 2 hottest teams in college football. You got USC and Penn State. I'm sure a lot of Penn State fans are pretty salty that they didn't get into the college football playoff after winning the Big Ten championship. But USC had an argument of their own. I mean, if they didn't have 3 losses, they beat teams like they beat Washington. They gave Washington its only loss of the year. They beat Colorado. They beat the toughest teams in the Pac-12. If they hadn't lost 3 games, they might be in the college football playoff instead of Washington. So I think it's going to be a very good game, and I just think it's a battle between 2 really good, really young quarterbacks, Sam Darnold, and Trace McSorley. And I think I got to go USC in a really close one.
Yeah, I like the way Penn State's been playing, but defense wins games, and I think USC has the better defense there.
And then the night game on New Year's Eve, you got the Sugar Bowl between Auburn and Oklahoma. Baker Mayfield, possibly his final college career game. He has said he most likely will return for his senior season, but when the season ends and you got agents calling and the NFL draft's coming around the horn, you just don't know what's going to happen. So this could very well be the last game in the career of Baker Mayfield. And he's going up against Auburn, one of the better defensive teams in the country as well, that is coming off of an Iron Bowl loss to Alabama, so I'm sure they'll be angry about that one. And although I love the way Gus Malzahn's coached the Tigers, I just got to go Oklahoma. I just think they're a better team. D.D. Westbrook, Sanjay P. Ryan, Baker Mayfield, that offense is just explosive.
Yeah, I don't see him being able to stop them. Oklahoma's just better all around, I think.
Actually, it was kind of interesting to read the other day that D.D. Westbrook became the first player in college football to get a higher player ranking than Lamar Jackson, which is kind of cool because Lamar Jackson's been considered like miles better than everyone else in college football.
Yeah.
You got the Heisman announcement this weekend between it's come down to Jabril Peppers, Baker Mayfield, Lamar Jackson, Deshaun Watson, and D.D. Westbrook. I think you still got to go Lamar Jackson, even though those last couple games by Louisville has made it a lot closer than a lot of people thought it would be. Lamar Jackson's just put up numbers that no one's ever seen before.
Yeah. It's hard to argue with numbers. Unless Deshaun Watson puts together some spectacular college football 2-game span, then I don't see him beating Lamar Jackson.
All right, we will move on to the NFL to end the show today. Going over some Week 16 scores really quick. On Thursday Night Football, the Cowboys edged the Vikings 17-15 on a very controversial call where it appeared that a Cowboys defensive player hit Sam Bradford in the helmet on a 2-point conversion, and no roughing the passer was called. But Cowboys improved to 11-1. Obviously, the big shocking story of the NFL this year. Dak Prescott taking over that team as a rookie. Ezekiel Elliott, a rookie running back, and they're both finalists for the MVP award.
Good. 2 fantastic football players and a great system.
Kansas City Chiefs edged the Atlanta Falcons 29-28. Eric Berry outscored 2 teams on Sunday. Eric Berry with a pick 6 and a 2-point conversion returned for a touchdown for 8 points. That outscored both the San Francisco 49ers and the Miami Dolphins. Detroit Lions beat the New Orleans Saints 28-13. Patriots, Tom Brady gets win number 201 to be the most winningest quarterback of all time as they beat the LA Rams 26-10. Denver over Jacksonville 20-10. Which another interesting fact I read, Blake Bortles now has more career pick 6s than he does wins.
Oh, jeez.
That
poor guy.
Not a good stat.
No.
Green Bay Packers in a very snowy game at Lambeau edged the Texans 21-13. Bengals finally get on the right track. I'm a Bengals fan. I'm happy about that. They beat the Eagles 32-14. Baltimore, Joe Flacco finally started playing like Joe Flacco that won the Super Bowl. They beat Miami 38-6. Chicago over San Francisco in a battle of the 2 of the 3 worst teams in the league, 26-6. Oakland Raiders 38, Buffalo 24. Pittsburgh beats the Giants 24-14. Arizona over Washington 31-23. Tampa Bay over San Diego 28-21. Seattle pounds Carolina on Sunday Night Football 40-7. And on Monday Night Football, Andrew Luck might be back as he threw for 4 touchdowns and the Colts beat the Jets 41-10.
Browns did not lose.
Yeah, they did not lose to the bye week this week.
I'm a Browns fan, so best week so far.
Yeah, they barely edged the bye week. Going over the quickly, we will go over the playoff standings. Right now, you have the Raiders in the 1 seed, Patriots 2, Ravens 3, Texans 4, Chiefs 5, and Broncos 6, with the Dolphins and Steelers on the edge. A thing to point out, the Steelers and Colts are both tied for the division lead with the Texans and Ravens, so that could still flip-flop. Also, Tennessee Titans also tied for the division lead. Marcus Mariota has really been impressing this year. And then into the NFC, Cowboys already clinched a playoff berth, winning 92% of their games. Wow, Dallas. I'm not used to seeing – this hasn't been seen since the 90s. Dallas comfortably in that 1 seed by 2.5 games. Seattle the 2, Detroit the 3. I don't think a lot of people saw the Detroit Lions running away with the NFC North. Falcons 4, Giants 5, and Buccaneers 6 with the Redskins, Vikings, and Packers looking in. Disappointing team this year, the 4-8 Carolina Panthers. Wow. Cam Newton, I mean, what happened? This guy was MVP last year.
I drafted him. I'm very disappointed. It's one of those things. You put up numbers like he did, it's hard to match that. But, hopefully he gets on the right track. He's a good player, so.
Most definitely. We will end the show tonight with some Week 14 predictions. It'd be interesting. Tomorrow night, Thursday Night Football, a game between 2 of the top teams in the AFC, Oakland Raiders and Kansas City Chiefs. Who you like in that one?
Oakland. Oakland's on fire right now. Derek Carr is phenomenal. I think they got it.
Derek Carr's awesome. Our favorite teams square off on Sunday. The Bengals and Browns from Cleveland. Both teams have been pretty poor this year.
Yeah. Sadly.
Should be a pretty interesting game, and not in the good way.
No.
I just think you got to go by quarterbacks here, and I think RG3 is supposed to play this weekend. So if he plays, I think they have a guy who's capable of making plays.
Yeah.
But Andy Dalton, I mean, this guy's 3rd in the league right now in passing yards. He's just got no help at receiver.
Yeah. Dalton's good. I'm just gonna go with the hometown pride. I'm gonna take the Browns. Hopefully Terrell Pryor can catch a few touchdowns. Corral can break a long one.
I can respect that. Pittsburgh takes on Buffalo from Orchard Park. I think the Steelers are the better team, but Buffalo at home in December. You got to think the weather plays a factor in that.
Oh, yeah, definitely. That'll be a good game.
Yeah. Denver, Tennessee as well. I think Marcus Mariota, as good as he's been, I think Denver's just got a better team.
Yeah. Defense, too. Defense wins.
Yeah, Marcus Mariota will probably be running a lot on Sunday.
Yeah.
Washington takes on Philadelphia in a key NFC East game. This is a must-win game for Philadelphia if they want a shot at the wild card. They are at home, but Kirk Cousins, he's been another surprise story this year. I think you got to go with the veteran. I think he outplays Carson Wentz.
Yeah, I like that guy. He's good.
Yeah.
He's good.
Cardinals and Dolphins. Cardinals were supposed to be in conversation for a Super Bowl. They were my Super Bowl picks this year. I picked the Cardinals to beat the Patriots in the Super Bowl this year. Cardinals sitting at 5-6-1, and the Dolphins sitting at 7-5. Who saw this one coming?
Not me.
Yeah,
not me. I'd pick it other way around, honestly, just the way the Dolphins usually play. But
yeah, most definitely. I think I still think you got to go Arizona though. I'm just gonna I'm gonna stick with my. I mean, I think Dolphins Tannehill's been great this year, but when it gets to this time late in the year, you've never seen the Dolphins play this late in the year with a chance to make the playoffs. So I just think Cardinals are used to having to play well late in the season. So I think you got Carolina taking on San Diego. San Diego's actually a game better than the Panthers, but I think the Panthers at home, I think Newton's going to be mad. I think I'm going to pick Carolina.
Yeah, I'm going with Carolina.
Chicago, Detroit. Chicago actually won last week. I've got a buddy that's a Bears fan. He was pretty happy about that. But I think you got to go Lions at home. Stafford's been great this year.
Definitely Lions. They got the momentum. Chicago.
Yeah, in the under the new system of Jim Bob Cooter, Stafford's been playing like an MVP rather than an average quarterback. Yes. Big game for sole possession of the lead in the AFC South. Houston and Indianapolis from Lucas Oil Stadium. I think you got to go with the quarterback. Like I like Houston's defense. I like Hopkins. But right now he doesn't have a quarterback that can throw it to him. And luck to Hilton, that's one of the deadliest combos in the league. I think I'm going to go Colts.
Yeah, definitely Colts.
Minnesota taking on Jacksonville. I'm going to go upset on this one. I like Jacksonville. At home, I think Bradford's kind of like hitting that point where he's like he's got his confidence rattled. I think I got to go with I think I'm going to go Jacksonville.
Yeah, he's definitely a little frustrated. I think Jacksonville will pull it off.
Yeah.
Like Bortles occasionally can toss for a few touchdowns.
New York Jets taking on the San Francisco 49ers. Kaepernick, will he start? Will it be Gabbard again? I don't know. But Jets have already confirmed Fitzpatrick's been benched. Bryce Petty will start for the Jets. I still got to go Jets. I think they have a better defense anyway.
Yeah. With two weird quarterback situations like that, you just got to go with the defense. So I think Jets.
New Orleans, Drew Brees travels to take on the young gun, Jameis Winston. And the Buccaneers in a position for the playoffs. Jameis Winston said a couple weeks ago he doesn't like losing, and since then he's 5-0. So Jameis apparently his talk shows up on the field. But I think Breeze is the veteran. He's got the young receivers, Snead, Thomas. He's still got Cooks. I think I got to go Saints. Again, late in the year, you just got to know it's that team that's been there before.
Yeah, definitely experience on that team for sure.
Yeah. Atlanta, LA from the Coliseum. I think you got to go Falcons.
Yeah, definitely Falcons. Him and Julio, all the other players, they play well.
They told me I was crazy when I had the number 1 overall pick in fantasy and took Julio over Antonio Brown, but that's paying off.
Oh, yeah.
Seattle taking on Green Bay. That should be an interesting one from Lambeau. I'm going to pick the Packers here because I think the Packers, Clay Matthews coming back, you got Mike Daniels, that pass rush. Seahawks just don't have an offensive line.
No.
They've got Jimmy Graham, Doug Baldwin, Russell Wilson. They're all great when they get protection. And recently, Russell Wilson's just been running for his life.
Yeah.
I got to pick the Packers here.
Yeah, no protection, no win. Definitely Packers.
Very interesting game on Sunday night. You got arguably the two best teams in the NFC, Giants and Dallas from New York. So the Giants are the only team to beat the Cowboys this year. What are you thinking in that one?
I'm going to go Giants. I think OBJ has a big game. He'll probably start a little fight with someone. I could see that happening. Make it entertaining.
I can't believe I'm saying this, but I'm thinking the Giants too. The Cowboys have won 11 in a row, but I just think in New York in December, everything's starting to be on the line. I just don't know if Dak and Zeke are gonna show up the way Eli and Beckham and they've been there before.
Yeah, they have experience on their side.
And then Monday Night Football, you got Baltimore and New England from Gillette. You could easily say New England's the better team, but recently, Tom Brady, the only team that can beat him in the playoffs in his career is Baltimore. So you think Flacco keeps up what he did last week, or do you think Brady gets it done at home?
I think he's got experience on his side, obviously. I think he's been there, so I think he could definitely play well. If he does, they win.
Definitely. So, I'm picking the Pats, too, in that one.
Yeah.
So that concludes the show. We will end the show with a new track by our new DJ Lingboy. It's called Lucidity. I've been looking forward to playing this one all week. Chandler, thanks for being the first athlete on the show. It was great having you. Next week, we will have Nathan Cordonier, a good friend of both of ours.
Thanks, Shay.
All right, this is Lucidity, guys. I'll see you guys next week.